Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very last webinar of the Choose France Tour 2021. We hope you have had a pleasant time in our virtual tent space and have been able to interact with the universities of your choice. For our last webinar, we have something very different planned for you. We have invited 3 of our alumni currently studying and working in France to come online and share their journey with our viewers. And we'll be talking about the stuff that's not on your welcome pack. So presenting Miss Dipanjana Das, studying comparative literature at the University of Paris and a Sharpak Master Scholar awardee. Dipanjana, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Hello, Saurav.
Joining her on the other screen is Miss Anisha Basu, also based in Paris, an economics graduate from the University of Orléans and currently serving an internship at Orange. Anisha,
Hello.
nice to have you.
Nice to be here.
And providing some geographical balance to our panel is Mr. Tithir Shah from Toulouse. Tithir is an engineer by profession who is currently studying computer science for aerospace at the University of Toulouse 3. Tithir, very nice to have you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Now, normally we have a sort of script that we use to set the pace and follow the webinar. But my script for today's webinar ends right about here because we are going to be discussing the practical aspects of living in France and navigating student life and asking our panelists to give their unvarnished opinions. So on that note, I want to start with the most sensitive topic of all, which is money. How much do you actually need to survive in Paris? So how was your first month, for example? This goes out to Anisha and Dipanjana.
Well, for me right now, the situation is different because of the internship. But in Paris, the cost of living is comparatively high. When I stayed in Orléans, 500 euros would be enough, if you include the caf, and the rent here is cheaper and the food is cheaper as well. But when you move to Paris, if you're looking for an apartment which is in Paris, it can lead up to 600-700 euros minimum, just the rent without the caf. And if you move outside of Paris, in 700, which I'm currently paying, you can get a pretty decent apartment, and you can get a lot of caf if you're living alone. So basically, in Paris, it should be around 1,000 euros maximum, depending on how you spend, basically. So it should be around 1,000 euros, but outside of Paris, I think 500-600 euros should be well enough.
Dipanjana?
I would agree with what Anisha just said. Since I did not have to worry a lot about accommodation because it was again Campus France that helped me with that, and I'm living in Cité Universitaire. So the rent is being taken care of. Even without the CAF, it's quite less. But again, you think about other aspects. For example, transport. For example, getting medicines, your regular grocery, etc. It does amount to a lot. So yes, as Anisha said again, 1,000 is an optimal amount, not less. So that's it.
Tithir, do you find this surprising being in Toulouse?
Yes, I was really wow, I'm really blessed to stay in Toulouse. You guys are the budget is huge because for me, since I stay in colocation, my room rent is around 340 to 350, and after CAF I get something. So my monthly budget, if I exclude the amount which I get from CAF, is like 350 to 400 euros. I'm done. I'm sorted for the month. So 400 euros and plus some CAF, which is around 500 something, I will be done for the month. And that is also the lavish lifestyle. So if you can get hold of your budget a little, you can do your month in including your CAF, 300 is more than enough.
And you guys all cook, right? You guys all cook by yourselves.
That's something you have to learn.
That's one important thing that gets lost in the conversation. People keep saying about the budget, so 800 euros, 1,000 euros should be fine. They don't tell you should be fine if you don't buy your food all the time. You should be able to cook. That is one advice that my parents gave me. Learn to cook.
You don't have to be really a professional chef. Like you get so
Yeah.
many sauces pre-made, so you can just quickly make pasta and put those sauce and you are done with it.
No, you don't have to go even for fancy things, because because sometimes when you are far from your home, you eat the thing which is made in your home the most, and just make the things that you eat at your home the most. Probably like rice, your like for rice, dal, and these things are easily available. You don't have to worry that how would I get those stuff in France. These are the most available thing. You at the corner of every house, at the corner of your every marketplace, you will find a small South Indian store or Indian store who are selling stuff. So you just need to know where those stores are. Just land up and buy your things which you eat at your home. Probably the best stuff that a student eats is Maggie. Don't need to carry Maggie. You get Maggie here also. So
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true. I have actually noticed that trend. It's like 10% of a student's baggage allowance is taken up by stuff that they can actually buy in France. A lot of it is biscuits and Maggie. But yeah. But I wanted to ask though about the CAF. So the CAF, do you find it's a good help? Do you find it easy to navigate one, because you're not you take
Another thing is that once you get CAF took a lot of time to process. Okay. CAF does take a lot of time.
What is the time that you should be budgeting for CAF?
How do I put it? It's it varies from person to person, like institute to institute, student to student. That's the time from which my CAF was to be calculated. So I moved in December, I settled down, then I applied in January, also because the offices were closing down for Christmas. So I applied in January. I applied in March, and the last time I applied was this month, which is September. Then I didn't get responses enough. So there was at one point I received a letter, a paper document asking me to submit my the translated copy of my birth certificate. So I was like, fine. But then I did not know how to go about things. So I consulted the welcome desk at University and just took an appointment with them. Oh my God, you've submitted your application thrice and it hasn't yet been processed. So, but it's not the same story everywhere. So having their CAF amount deposited into their bank accounts already. But for me and certain other people, it's been like that. Submitted, they'll start processing in a month or two after evaluating the backlogs, etc. That's how it will go.
So about 2 months space, yeah.
So it's not really predictable.
I would just say that what I used to do, fortunately, I had ESN Orléans to help me. So what I usually did was the moment I landed, the first thing I did was to sort out my CAF, because and the moment you are done with your CAF, they would send you a letter and you would submit your documents as soon as possible. It should take 2 months time, but if you see that it's taking more than 2 months, just simply call them, because they don't usually call you to tell you what documents are missing. So if it's processed 2 months, just simply call them. That would speed up the process.
That's a helpful tip, by the way. Yeah, thank you.
And just to add on, get the application of MyCAF downloaded in your mobile. As soon as you process your things, you will get immediate notification, and just check your mails with all the problems that are happening. If they do not respond, just to be on the safer side, when you get those notification and you publish, just go and take a visit at the help desk or the home desk. Just go and visit them and ask them if it's okay. The first time they are very good, they will speak in English, they will try to help you through. But the second and third time when you land up there, they will expect you to speak French. So be aware of those things. It's The first time they will always help you. They will understand from your face if you are the first time or the second time. From second time onwards, they won't be like entertaining any different language apart from France. So yes, that's the bad side. But this is the part like we have accepted now. So it's okay.
And sticking to bureaucratic questions, how long did it take you guys to get your OFII process? Like you're supposed to do that within 3 months. So how was it to get your carte de séjour, for example?
I think it was, if I remember correctly, it was quite immediate. The moment I landed, I went to the OFII website. I paid the timbre fiscal, the fees that they ask for, and immediately they'll send you a letter in a PDF format, both in English and French, so that I think it's pretty immediate. You don't need to take a lot of time for that.
Yeah. So as you immediately land, I guess the exact name
Even
of the
for me,
document
it was just in the first month.
So I guess the exact document name is the VTLS LS, which you get immediately as you land. So it will be like immediate as you register. I think you have to pay a stamp of around 50 euros to get that validated. So that is your immediate expense as you land up here. Immediate bureaucratic expenses which you have to pay.
Now, all three of you sort of went during the pandemic. So how did the transition to online classes affect you? Like you've basically managed to see both aspects of the French education system. You were partly, I guess, being taught physically, but then suddenly there was a bit of a break, and then the transition to online classes to now a sort of equilibrium. So can you tell us a little bit about that? How did you manage? How did your university manage, for example?
It was a bit difficult at the beginning because at least in my university, they took a month's time to rearrange the classes to make it completely online from offline. And it was a bit difficult, especially if you are in a course which requires, for example, I had to do a lot of work on data, and it was very difficult to do it online. But then gradually you adapt. So it's not that bad right now, and I think that has become a new normal for all of us.
The first month I had to go to
Dipanjana, I think your internet is not very stable. We're not able to hear you.
On the required days, and in starting November, it was yes.
I think we'll come back to Dipanjana after this. Tithir, if you can share.
Okay, so it's like in French they say c'est très difficile. So it was very difficult. I can like being back to, I graduated in 2010 and being back to studies after 10 years and everything in distancial, as they say it, like it's distance. There will be two terms you will come to know. One is distancial and one is presential. Presential means classes having in front of you, and distancial is the classes when you are having it online. So distancial was very difficult because during that time you have questions. Sometimes you think that classroom training would have been much more appropriate. Yes, these were few problems you faced, but nonetheless, when we told these problems to our faculty, they said, okay, let's bring you guys for the practical sessions in university and let's have the theoretical classes online. So that's how these things were balanced out and evened out. So hopefully now, as because like it's very good that we are having all our classes in presential now, everybody is going to the university because most of us have the pass sanitaire, even though it's not mandatory, but the classes are presential, and the French government is taking a huge step to bring the students back to the university.
So let's talk about the pass sanitaire now that you've brought it up. So how is the system to navigate now? Do you require it almost everywhere you go, like restaurants, coffee
Yes,
shops?
it's like literally wherever you want to sit and have anything. For takeaways, no issues. Or where you go and exit within like 5 or 10 minutes, there is no requirement of the pass sanitaire. But you go to a restaurant, you want to have your dinner there, it's pretty mandatory. Or you go to do a sports, like you hit the gym or want to go swimming, that is pretty mandatory. So in those respect, our university has come up with the vaccination program within the university premises. In case for those international students who are not able to do those vaccinations. So I guess every university, I guess our university, Paul Sabatier and University Toulouse-Toa has come up with this initiative where they are getting people vaccinated within the campus.
Although the pass sanitaire is kind of reducing a little bit, because before everywhere we used to go, we had to, if it's a closed space, we had to show the pass sanitaire. But now the government is trying to regularize it a bit. So now only if you go to movies, even at certain restaurants, they don't see pass sanitaire. So they are slowly reducing that and trying to normalize everything. But yeah, you have to have a pass sanitaire. Either it's a vaccination or a PCR test.
Dipanjana? Is it
Yes. So the pass sanitaire is, we are reducing the usage of the pass now. And another thing is that if not the pass sanitaire, wearing mask is mandatory in most closed spaces. That's what is thoroughly maintained. Yeah.
But did you guys get vaccinated in India or in France? Obviously, I guess in France, because you were there before the pandemic. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So how is the process of actually obtaining the pass sanitaire for you guys?
Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead. I'll rest.
Here the system is, even if it's, although I think it's a little a bit bizarre, but if you already had COVID 3 months prior to your vaccination, then you just need 1 dose. So I had to take only 1 dose, but then in some countries they don't accept just 1 dose, so you have to take 2 doses. So that is a bit of an issue. But at the beginning, they started with, like they do it with everyone, with 55 plus people, and also the people who have health risk. And then they slowly, and only if they have an availability. For example, at night, they have a lot of, at the end of the day, they have a lot of vaccines. So if they have remaining vaccines, what they do is they open up the on Doctolib. That's where you usually book your vaccinations. So they open up a couple of slots and you can take it. Now at this point, you can go and take your vaccine whenever you want. There is no priority. Like after 11 years of age, you can go and take vaccines right now. But that's how it started in France.
No, but how's the pass sanitaire though? Like when you got the vaccine, after that, how easy or not was it to get actually the green pass?
They just give you, once you get your vaccination, they give you a paper and there would be a QR code. So either you can keep your keep that paper with you, or there's this application called Anti-COVID. So you can scan the QR code there and you can have it on your phone. And wherever you go, the person would just scan that QR code and see if you are vaccinated or not, and they let you in.
Also, this works when you're traveling. If you're going to a different country within the Schengen area, so there is a border mode installed in the app itself. It's just you have to just swipe a switch or something, and you can show it to people when you're boarding a bus or taking a flight, or maybe just crossing the border in some means. So that works pretty well everywhere.
Ah. So now I want to move into the non-academic aspects of basically living in France. So what's the one thing that you wish you knew before you moved to France? One thing that sort of came out of the blue that you didn't expect?
Okay, so I guess I need to speak out here because I never knew French guys play cricket. And so when I landed up here, suddenly I got I saw a club, I saw a Facebook page probably where they were playing cricket and stuff. So I ended up there, and like they play really professionally cricket. So Saturdays and Sundays were always in my calendar were filled up with things with the cricket club and playing cricket. So it was something pretty ordinary, and even I was associated with music
Yeah,
club and
so for
stuff.
context, for our viewers, Tithir is actually the part of the team for Toulouse, and they have actually won a major competition at the moment. So Tithir, please.
Okay, so yes, so the our club is like now the champions of the Southwest France, and this year we have opened up and we are going to play the National France League. And actually, the sport is here being promoted because France is also comes under the ICC cricket playing nations. So it is trying to compete for the T20 championship. Their women's team is constantly playing. I came to know all of this because like the European cricket is trying hard because cricket is being introduced in Olympic. So everybody now is trying to prepare a team so that they can participate in this kind of events. And they are a huge kind of probably we also go for promoting the sport to the French nationals, like in Vital Sport, in Decathlon, in various parts of the region. Like our presidents ask us to go and tell people what this sport is about. They can come and have training with us if they like the sport. And this sport here is actually being sponsored by Mairie de Toulouse. So our ground and everything is being like Mairie is responsible for the terrain or the ground where we play cricket. So it's a nice thing that we came to know. Apart from that, like there are one more thing which is important. Like many people are health conscious and they want to join a gym or something like that. So most of the universities have a gymnasium. So be in contact because of the COVID situation, everything is now restricted. So if you want to hit a gym or do something, make sure that you know the places where you should go, or because the gymnasiums are those places where it's a little bit more costlier. So the college gymnasiums will be much more cheaper or cost effective in this regards.
Anisha, Dipanjana, what's the one thing that you wish you knew before you went?
I wish I knew how long. I mean, I always knew that French administration takes a lot of time, but I did not know that it would take up to 1 year for me to get my carte vitale.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it. Yes, I mean, you get your temporary your attestation, which you can show to get your vaccines or to go to medicine and get reimbursed. But then to get an actual carte vitale, it's much easier if you have an actual carte vitale than the attestation. And it takes up to 1 year. You can keep on applying, but it won't come before that.
It's kind of like your Aadhaar card, but then also your provisional Aadhaar card. Sometimes people
Yes.
get
Yes, it's fascinating that it would take so much time. So that was one very bizarre thing for me.
Dipanjana?
For me, first, yes, the carte vitale. I haven't yet got my carte vitale, so that's still in the pipeline. The other thing that totally blew me off was that traditional universities, like the one where I am, it's possible to take extra departmental courses, like the stream of interdepartmental or extra departmental studies, or it's amazing, and it's pretty complicated. Like for example, if I'm studying at Paris 7 campus, I can take a class at INALCO, any business school which is relevant for me, or maybe Paris in a Sorbonne campus, or whatever it is.
And just to be clear, these are not for credits. Like they won't add towards your credits. This is something you
No,
can.
that is part of my curriculum. Like my curriculum should, for example, in Master 1, Master 2, I have 4 to 5 seminars to attend. One is 1 or 2 are core subjects, whereas the 3 others I have to choose. There are many options. I have to choose one out of each of the remaining 3. So for that, there is one compulsory language course that I have to take up, and unfortunately, most of it is English, specialized English for students studying psychology, etc. And there are other languages: Spanish, German, Arabic, Chinese, Japanese, like that. So I have to choose one. For the remaining three, I have the option of speaking to other universities, other branches of Paris University, Sorbonne, or whichever university is there in Paris, and speak to the concerned professor who teaches the subject that, sir or ma'am, may I attend this class as my hors parcours or extra departmental class? And if there is space, they will allow you.
So basically, you're saying for your extra departmental classes, it's okay to go to another university to do that.
I might have to go to another campus, another location, and attend the class. And it's pretty common here. It's pretty common. Everybody does it all the time.
That's very interesting.
Yes.
That's so. Speaking on the topic of internships, how many of you? I know that Anisha is currently doing one at Orange, but Tithir, Dipanjana, did you do internships during your studies?
Yes, right now I'm doing my university is attached with the IRIT Lab, Institute of Research Informatica Technician. So this is the lab which I am currently working with. So I'm doing my master thesis from there. It's something very cool because since I want to carry on with my PhD, so it's good for me to do an internship in the lab and then carry on with the forward because uh, all of my professors are from the IRIT lab, so we have a lot of opportunities in the IRIT lab, and there is a page where you also can see
That
the
really brings
PhD
me to my question. Like,
Yep.
What would be your advice to someone who's looking to score the internship of their dreams, for example? So what would be the advice that you give them? How do they navigate?
Okay, so there are usually I see two type of students here. One type of student who will probably, because our university works, since it's a government university, so here actually what happens, the course is a two-year course. The first year you have your studies, and the second year comes with the apprentissage or the alternance or the work study internship, or you can take up your master thesis. So the work study internship is like, usually you go to university for 2 days, and you go to your company where you do your internship for 3 days. So there are many people who actually have gone for apprentissage, where they work for a company where they go 2 days to the university and 3 days. So the total timeline that they go to the work is like 6 months, because they are not working as a full-time, but they're working as a part-time. And for 2 other days, they are coming to the university. For me, it's a little different. Since I want to carry on with my studies, I want to do my PhD. I wanted to do a master thesis in my lab, where I would be working on a particular subject for thesis. For example, right now I am working on spam detection in social environments like Twitter,
Is this a
Facebook.
conversation that you can normally have with them, like to tell them that, for example, I want it to be this flexible for me because of my
Exactly.
circumstances?
Exactly. So my basic thing to the students who are going to come, or to the people who are going to come for, who are going to choose France as their career, my basic thing is will be like, get to know your teachers, because like, don't be shy of them, come out of your shell, get in touch with them. They are not going to bite you. Do not be scared of them, do not be afraid of them. And you are far from your home, so your university, your school is the only place, is the nearest thing to the family to you. So like, do not be afraid of them, go in touch with them, whatever question, whatever problem is there. There are people who are going to help you out, and they are eager to help always.
Let's go. So I want to hear from Anisha as well, because Anisha, you're in hyper competitive Paris. So how was it for you to score the internship at Orange, and how difficult or easy, or however it was?
Well, I would say, honestly, it's also about luck. You have to get a little lucky, but at the same time, you have to constantly personalize your CV. And as Titi talked about alternance, it's a very good option. It would help you gain your work experience, even though it basically sums up to 6 months. It would still be considered to be 1 year of your job experience. So that is highly encouraged, but then not all universities or all courses encourage alternance, because for example, for my course, my professor told all of us not to go for alternance, otherwise we won't be able to cope up with the classes. But for the internship, you just have to personalize your CV, apply everywhere. Sometimes if you just apply to 10 companies, you would get an answer from somewhere, a positive answer for somewhere. And sometimes if you apply to 100, you would get negative, and then out of 200, you would get at least one. But you will get an internship no matter how difficult it is. It's easy, and they actually prefer more English speaking students, especially in international companies like in Orange. My entire team spoke English, and we had to talk to clients in English, so that shouldn't be a problem.
So the important thing here is to be persistent.
Yes, exactly. And apply everywhere, and work on the CV. Try to maybe exaggerate about yourself a little bit. Don't lie, but just exaggerate a little.
Yeah, Anisha, I think, yeah, this is going out to an audience. So just remember that.
No, I mean, by exaggerating, I mean presented in a way which looks appealing.
Okay.
In the sense, so presented in such a way that it looks appealing, and it's more apt to the job description. Highlight the points. For example, if they need technical skills like R, SQL, Python, and if you have that in your CV, then highlight those points, because the HR gives only 3 seconds per CV to review. They won't read your CV in depth, so make sure you have highlighted that.
It might be an algorithm ranking you. It might be an algorithm which is just sorting maybe 10 of 1,000 CVs, and that only goes to a human who makes the decision. So it could be that as well.
That, and also, I mean, even the HR, they don't have that much time to read everything, so they would just look through, and they would see which are the important points, whichever correspond to the job that you're applying for, and then they would forward it to the manager. So make sure you highlight it, you are precise, don't write too much that is not necessary for that particular job. And I think you should be good to go. It's not that difficult to get an internship in Paris, especially because there are a lot of businesses that are hiring every day.
So in the same way, now we know that one thing that's very different from India, and I think like everyone is now aware of this, is the teacher-student dynamic. It works very differently in France, or rather anywhere in Europe. So did you find your professors approachable and generally helpful, or was that limited interactions? This question is for everyone.
I would say they are very helpful. Like, ask if when I came here, the thing that was the most difficult was the entire system, the entire academic as well as the administrative system here, especially in my case, in a traditional university. And also there aren't a lot of English speaking people around. Also, I did not know a lot of people save my thesis guide and the faculty involved. So what I did was whatever basic question that I had, including, sir, I think this is my timetable. Do you think that I'm looking at the correct timetable? I would send a mail to him and ask something as basic like that. So he would say, yes, this is the correct timetable. And I always had the option to mail my professors, and they would get back to me as soon as possible regarding anything under the sun. Well, even with technical help, as in setting up my own portal, ID card, or being a part of cruise, or paying for something, they were my professors who guided me towards the concerned departments, concerned blocks of administration. So I would say they are very helpful. Even if you need any personal help, you can obviously approach them. So it's the dynamic is pretty good. Also, the French people, no matter how you think, no matter how less you talk to them, if they are in your classroom or in your neighborhood, you can go and ask them for whatever help you need. They'll really be helpful and kind.
Anisha, Tithir, what's your experience?
Well, teachers are generally very helpful, not just in a classroom, but even outside. For example, my HOD. I asked her if she has any on-campus job in the department or outside, and she really helped me find a job that would be good for an English-speaking student. So they try to help you, and they are very understanding. They are patient. So it's a little different from what it is in India.
Yes, like I can easily relate to what Anisha and Dipanjana said, because it was something new to me. And your like the basic one point I would like to highlight is the teachers are your only gateway to any problem situations. And like, do not hide from them, or do not like go into your shell. If you go into your shell, no one can help you. If you have any problem, they are your first point of contact, and let them know of what problem you're facing. It can be anything, starting from personal problems to problem in understanding a particular subject or a particular point. So just let them know of whatever issues you are facing down the line. It can be even with, you don't have a laptop, your university is going to provide you a laptop for that particular session, or you might have a very bad internet service, or you need some printouts, because these are few of the things which you like will always be requiring. So make sure you ask these questions to your professor or someone, and they would always be able to guide you through these points. So because I had those problems, so it was fine. Even if you don't find accommodation, let your university know that you are not finding accommodation. Even they have connections with cruise. Sometimes if you apply directly to the cruise website, you might not be able to get one. But if any of your professor from the admin of the university makes a reference for you, you will immediately get an admission into cruise, which is otherwise a very difficult task to get.
That would count as a tips and tricks, actually. So
Yes.
let's move on to something a little bit more fun, because I guess we have about 10-15 minutes left. So tell me one thing about France that struck you as totally weird when you first arrived, but now you find it totally sensible.
For me, that was a collection of cheese. I mean, you go in a supermarket, and you would have an entire aisle just dedicated to different kinds of cheese, and then you would have another aisle which is a bit more expensive cheese. So if you're earning a lot more, I mean, that was quite not bizarre, but more fascinating for me. You won't find that many kinds of cheeses here, or I think not even anywhere else in Europe.
That's actually like have you taken to it? Like do you think it's more of an acquired taste now, or do you like have you taken to it like, okay, now I can identify the difference between good cheese, bad cheese, medium cheese?
I have 2 drawers in my fridge dedicated to just cheeses.
Okay, so you
Because some cheeses taste too strong, and here French people say the smellier the cheese, better it tastes.
So what's your favorite one then now?
For now, I am absolutely obsessed with Comté. It's a very mild cheese. It has its own different taste. You can differentiate it, and that is one cheese that would go with everything. You can have it with any dried meat or vegetable. I really like that one. But then some people like blue cheese. I don't like to have it that much because then it would stink up my entire room.
Yeah, it's fishy. If you don't like fish, you don't like blue cheese.
Yes, true. It tastes good. Don't get me wrong. It all tastes good, but it's just the smell that just won't go away.
Tithir, do you have an anecdote? Do you have one thing that struck you totally weird and now it's like?
Yes, the one of the most important thing here is like they like I see Bengalis the Bengalis only, like the Bengalis just have like transferred to France because the culture is so similar. Like it's just a similar something. Like if somebody has never been France, and they can imagine like Bengali people sitting, but they are just like they speak French. That's it. That's one of the things that I came. That's one of the things that I came to like.
But,
They love to.
into that vein, how good is the Indian food in Toulouse? Is it good? Is it up to your standards or? You think
Okay, I can refer 2 or 3 places, but if somebody has to try Indian food, I can
that's
I
gonna
can
be my
ask them.
next question. That's gonna be the last question we end with. So we'll keep it for that. That's gonna be my last question because we want to put some personal recommendations because I understand Zomato doesn't work. I tried it, it doesn't. So I'm gonna ask you guys for your recommendations to share with your viewers. Before that, I want to ask Dipanjana. Do you have something that you found totally weird, but now it makes total sense?
Yes, the abundance of the influence of foreign cultures or things in France, like looking at going to every area and finding at least 2 Indian restaurants with very fancy names. I don't know what they make of it, or maybe getting into an Japanese store or getting into the Korean store, like it's something exotic, magical, etc. And just look at the brand Kusni tea. Yeah, like you're looking at, I see it and I'm like, okay, tea here, okay, Darjeeling, and even Darjeeling tea is something really something special, extraordinary, which I at first it would be like, why are you exoticizing this thing? But then I realized, okay, we are miles away from Darjeeling. I used to live closer to Darjeeling once upon a time, till last year, so I'm miles away, so I understand. Okay, it's a matter of something special, specialty, like we have special wine here, special cheese. Similarly, okay, they like the tea.
My favorite was when Danone started making mishti doi.
Did they?
Oh, you didn't know that? Okay. Yeah, Danone. So here's the funny thing. Danone started making mishti doi, which they sold over here, which is a very Indian thing. But then because there's so many mishti doi on the market, they couldn't make it work. So now they only sell that in France. So, so you can get Danone doi in France. But
it's not that great though. It's
Oh.
not that great. I have tried it. I was heavily disappointed, and then I don't buy it. But if you, I mean, coming to what Dipanjana said, if you notice here, like when we are in India, if any restaurant or any place which has a French name or any like La Renaissance or something like that, we think, oh, it's so fancy. But it's quite opposite out here. Out here, if anything is written in English, they think it's fancy.
Okay.
Yes.
Apparently, yeah.
Like even now, when I see when I was in India, I saw the Café L'Instant open up in 2 to 3 places in Calcutta. Then before that, we had La Maison des Délices. We still have Rouge. Since I was actively learning the French language, so it wasn't that fancy to me. So like, okay, for me, it was like, okay, fancy.
It's always fancier when you don't understand the meaning.
Yeah. Yes. So for me, it was like, okay, fancy name, French desserts. It has to be expensive, and that's it. But yeah, it tasted good. The food was really good. But it's now as if the roles are reversed. It's my time to roll my eyes at all the Indian names that I see around. That's
so let's end with one question that would be very, very pertinent to anyone who's traveling to France very soon, including, I hope, a lot of the people who are attending our session today. But what's the 1 or 2 places which you find as hidden gems in Paris, in Toulouse, in Orléans even? But what are the 1 or 2 places that you love to go back to all the time? It could be a restaurant, it could be a coffee shop, it could be something that you really want to recommend to someone, saying that, hey, I wish you must go to this place, this is amazing.
Well, in Paris, so since I haven't been to India in 2 years, I definitely miss Kolkata biryani. So I found this one place which is not that expensive. It's easily attainable to students, where they actually have Calcutta biryani. It's called Café Sundarban.
You're kidding me? Oh, awesome.
So they have, so basically it's opened by Bangladeshi people. So that's why the biryani is as close to Calcutta as you would find in France. And then I have another, I don't really like Indian food here that much. I mean, I just find it very bland. and it's very the gravy is very watery for me, so I'm very picky with Indian food. So but there's this one restaurant which is a bit high end, so if you once you start earning, you can probably go there. It's called Nirvana, and that's one of my favorite Indian restaurant in Paris. And in Gare du Nord, there for South Indian, there is called Krishna Bhavan.
Saravana Bhavan now?
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I prefer Krishna Bhavan a bit more for South Indian food. So these are my 3 top recommendations for Indian food in Paris.
It doesn't have to be Indian food, huh? It just has to be like a hidden gem. Tithir, do you have a few in Toulouse?
Yes, I have lot on my platter to actually tell you. The Indian food here is not something which you have tasted back in my place. So what I have done is, over the course of time, I have made sure that I can replicate those dishes with my old memories. So if somebody wants to have any dish particular, they name it and I make it. So that's how I have shifted from going to restaurants rather than preparing that on myself. Yeah, you need to find good butcheries. The second and the most important thing is coffee. If somebody is a real coffee lover, Toulouse doesn't have good coffee shops. So
that's a very bold thing to say.
So it took me around 9 months to find that perfect coffee joint where I can go and order an espresso and they can serve me proper espresso, the Italian way. It's very sad, but it's true. So I have found a place called Cafe d'Italia. So I have found that place after 9 months of proper searching. The second, but the most important, being a Bengali myself, I'm in love with fish. So I will prefer fish over any meats. So I have found a dish which is called the bouillabaisse. This dish is specific to the Mediterranean region and you will find it only in this part. So if someone likes fish, they have to try bouillabaisse. And this is specific to the Mediterranean region, where like you won't find bouillabaisse in other restaurants in Paris or in Ile-de-France or like in Pas-de-Calais or in Normandy. It's specific to this region. So and it's being like, if you go to some of the beaches like Port Saint Nouvelle near Mediterranean, you will get this kind of dishes a lot. So this is my found, actually, like fish lovers, this is the place to be. You get all fishes.
We'll end with Dipanjana's top recommendations. It doesn't have to be restaurants. It could be, bookstores as well. Because I know you are studying comparative literature. So
first things first, I don't eat outside in the restaurants a lot because the taste doesn't appeal to me. I usually cook, and I cook like very often. And I usually share it with my housemates. So it's really fun. Second of all, never underestimate the French pâtisserie, boulangerie, like the bakery. So croissant, baguette, then quiche, everything is really good. So never underestimate the smallest and the smallest of bakeries because they are the best. That's what I can say. And in case anyone is wishing to live in Paris, the excitement is not only limited to the museums or the monuments. You can pick any random street in Paris, walk around it, and you'll find plenty of hidden gems, plenty of beauty. So there's so many things beautiful around there, like street graffiti, maybe the architecture, maybe a musician playing some music, maybe there's some random artwork, or maybe there's a small hidden park or a garden. And all of it is pretty beautiful. And yes, I have been to Shakespeare and Company, and it's a wonderful experience, to be honest. And there are other bookstores also, Gibert and Joseph. Then there's FNAC Darty. Then last month, I met the author Amitav Ghosh at a bookstore here, which was pretty memorable because his French translation of two of his novels came out. So that's a surprise. So that's it.
If you're talking about hidden gems, I don't know if you have noticed. Oh, no, go ahead. You were saying something.
No, you start. You go ahead. Always like, go ahead. No issue.
Okay. So another thing you can notice is that everywhere on the street there are a little, I would say, a little shelf where you can get free books. So if you can, everyone, once they finish reading their books, they put it there for someone else to read it. And then, it goes like that. It's like a small mini on-street library that you can also check out.
Yeah, just to like finish, I probably like a weirdest thing I found. I have heard a lot of Papandas Baul songs, and few days back I saw, like, as soon as the pandemic was over and things were happening, I saw one of his what do you say, that one of his concerts at a small cafe, and I came to know, and I went there, and he stays in Toulouse, so he's probably a French citizen who stays in Toulouse, and I never knew that, and it was like a big like revelation to me. So I sense, being from a musical background also, so I have a lot of interest in music and in folk music especially, so that part also like is something weird I found when
Pawan
I
Dasbal blew up quite a lot after his work with Sam Mills, I think. So he
exactly.
started doing a lot of electronic music after that.
Yes.
That's all the time we have today. Thank you, Dipanjana, Anisha, and Tithir, for taking time out to be with us today.
Thank you so much.
Saurav.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being with us. And for our viewers, from everyone here at Campus France, Institut Français en Inde, and the French Embassy, we wish you a very pleasant weekend. We'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.